Hello, welcome to Sydney, Nova Scotia. That's where we are today. And we're in port right now, and we're going to take a tour around the small but charming town of Sydney. And first stop on the tour, we're going to have a look at the flower garden, which has the beautiful Canadian flag and the maple leaf there in flowers. We're hiding from the wind right now, but we're going to get a little closer and have a look. Now we're right next to the ship and next to the flower garden. We have a monument here, which is right here. It's very easy to find next to the ship. This commemorates the Scottish influence that's here in Nova Scotia. Now Nova Scotia of course means New Scotland, and we had 415 settlers came over here in 1802 on the ship the Northern Friends, and this is to commemorate their arrival. They formed the vanguard that helped protect the area, and this symbolises the Scottish character and heritage of Sydney, Nova Scotia. Now we're right across the street from the monument. This is the St. Patrick's Church Museum. This is the oldest church in Sydney. This was established in 1828 and it's now a church museum. It's a very nice place to catch a little bit of history and the flavour of Sydney. We're now heading into St. Patrick's Church. Let's go in and have a look inside. Now it's a beautiful church. It's the oldest Roman Catholic church in Sydney, and we're going to come in it, take a look around, and we're going to meet Ellen, who works here.
Hi, so we're at St. Patrick's Church Museum. It's the oldest Roman Catholic church in Cape Breton. It's no longer a functioning church, but it's been a museum for the last 51 years. My favorite part about the church, though, come this way, is our roof. So back in the 18th century, in the 19th century when this was built, 1828, we didn't have very many carpenters, but we had lots of people who built boats. So what they did is they built a boat, turned it upside down, and put it as our roof.
Fantastic. That's like the Norwegian technique as well.
Oh, great. Yeah. So yeah, come to St. Patrick's Church Museum and come see how beautiful it is.
Thank you very much, Ellen.
No problem.
At the moment, there's actually a travelling exhibition on at the moment, which is all about the 1713 Treaty of Utrecht, and there's tapestries all about the history of that, about the wars at Louisbourg and everything that happened. So right now, we're lucky enough that we can check out these beautiful tapestries. Hi, so we're now on Charlotte Street. This is just one block up from the waterfront where the ship stopped, and when you come straight up towards the left, there's a lot of really nice houses. If you want to check out the local atmosphere, see some of the beautiful houses here. There's some gorgeous mansions, large townhouses, very colloquial, really nice buildings. This is a nice place to get the feel of how the locals live here. It's a small town, it's cute, it's not a big bustling metropolis. There's not 100 things to do here, but it has charm and it's very nice. And this is a good place to see what Sydney's really all about. Hi, so we're now in front of St. George's Church. This is the oldest Anglican church in Sydney, and this is the oldest church overall because this one was founded in 1785. It's a very nice building. It's closed at the moment, but it's open in the mornings to check it out. Very nice building, stone structure, also very similar to ones that you would find back in old Scotland and around the UK as well. It is an Anglican church. It's a very nice place to stay when you tour Sydney. And also right next to St. George's Church is the graveyard, or kirkyard in Old Scots, as you would call it. It's right next to it here. And this is where a lot of the oldest families of Sydney would have their final resting place. Now the main difference, the difference between a cemetery and a graveyard is, in case you were wondering, a graveyard is always next to a church. It's always right next to it, and a cemetery can be anywhere. So we've got the graveyard right next to the church, and you can see there's some very old headstones and things there. It's a summer place, but it's beautiful, and it shows you a little bit more about the character of the town and how the people of Sydney live. Okay, we're now in George Street. This is one street further in towards the town, away from the ship. And we have another church. This one is the Sacred Heart Church, and this is another Catholic church. So you can see that for the size of Sydney, it's quite a small town, the amount of churches that they have here, and also different denominations. This shows that religion plays a large part in the role of daily life here in Sydney. And so whether you're interested in the churches because you follow any of these specific religions and denominations yourself, or whether you just like the churches for the architecture, for the history, what you can learn about the area, I'd say they're definitely worth a visit while you're walking around Sydney. And across the street from the Sacred Heart Church, we have some of the government buildings of Sydney, right here, where all this stuff gets done. So you can check them out while you visit the church. Okay, we're now in downtown Sydney, and the main part of downtown Sydney starts from where you can see the Bank of Montreal, and we're on Charlotte Street here, and this is where everything heads on up. From straight down here, you can see the main part of the downtown area. This is where there's lots of little local shops, there's souvenirs, nice restaurants, coffee shops, mom and pop shops, and things like that. So inside the Bank of Montreal building, it's no longer a bank, it is now home to the Sydney Historical Society, which you can check out, established back in 1966. You can get a lot of information about the people that live here, their genealogy, and the history of the town itself and how it was formed. So a little further down Charlotte Street and the main drag of Sydney, we have our favourite place to eat that we found here. This is called the Maple Leaf Restaurant. It's a little local mom and pop place, and they have good local food. My favourite are the scallops. They also do breakfast poutine, which is very interesting, tasty. Not the healthiest choice, but very nice as well. And they're open from 8 till 4. They also have free Wi-Fi and great coffee refills and service with a smile. And right next to it, you can admire some of the local art by Uber 5000. We've got a graffiti painting of some sea life, which is rather nice too. Okay, we're inside the Maple Leaf Restaurant, so you can see what it's like and check it out. We've got tables, it's a little local place, and we've got some nice booths. Simple local place, a nice place to grab some lunch or breakfast. So just up from the Maple Leaf Restaurant, we have the Caperton Curiosity Shop. It's a good local shop to get some souvenirs if you want postcards, magnets, keychains, little quirky things from Sydney, Nova Scotia.
You don't become cynical and jaded. It's just part of reality that
Hello, now it's time to have a little rest. And so as you're walking down Charlotte Street, just head up on your left along Prince Street and you'll find our favourite coffee shop, which is called Dr. Luke's, a respectable coffee house. It's a very nice place to stop for a coffee, for some local snacks, and there's even a piano outside you can play. Let's go in and check it out. So we're inside Dr. Luke's. This is our favourite coffee shop in Sydney. As you can see, it's very cosy and very popular as well. They have lots of really nice coffee drinks and some local treats. And we're going to meet the owner, Julie, to tell us a little bit more about it. Hey, how are you?
Hi, good, thank you. Hi there. I'm Julie Sutherland, co-owner of Dr. Luke's, a respectable coffee house here in Sydney, Nova Scotia. We proudly serve down east beans. They're a small roasting company just outside of Moncton, New Brunswick. They pride themselves on small batch roasting of ethically sourced coffee, and we've been in operation since 2013.
Excellent. Well, it's time to try something.
Perfect. Enjoy.
Okay, so you can see the menu. Lots of nice local coffee, as Julie said. And also here are some of the local treats. We've got chocolate chip pumpkin bread, which is very nice. We've got some pecan cakes as well as some pastries. And my personal favourite, the Cape Breton oat cakes, which we're going to have in a moment. Now my favourite part, it's time to relax. We're going to sit down. I've got my favourite, which is a mocha, and also the locally made Cape Breton oat cakes. Now they're not like oat cakes from Scotland. I'm from Scotland. Oat cakes in Scotland are a lot coarser. They're made with oats, as these are, but this is kind of like oat cakes and shortbread had a baby, a delicious baby that I'm going to eat right now. That's it from Dr. Luke's. So now this is a boardwalk. You can walk along from the ship all the way along the front here. It takes you all the way down here to terminal. There's lots of shops in there, nice places to get souvenirs. There's complimentary Wi-Fi, and we're going to go check out the Big Fiddle inside the Joan Harris cruise terminal now. And there's some Wi-Fi here. There's a couple of jewellery stores. There's also some local crafts, some funny t-shirts, things like that. And also there's a craft hall. That's it from the town section of Sydney. Now it's a cute town. There's lots of cute little things to see. It's not a big bustling metropolis, as I found out, but it's a nice place to have a look around. If you want to do something more adventurous, or you would like to go further afield and check out the area of Cape Breton, there's some really great tours here. Now my 3 top picks for tours here are the Coal Miners Tour, and the Fortress of Louisburg, and also the one where you go to see the Mi'kmaq Reserve and the Highland Village. Now the tour, The Life of a Coal Miner, that takes you out to an actual coal mine where people have been working, and they have a reconstructed coal mine there. And this shows you basically the main industry of Sydney area. This is what the main industry has been for many, many years. Nowadays the coal mining industry isn't there anymore, but it gives you a good insight to how people lived, how they worked, and what a real coal mine is like. It's a really, really interesting tour. You go down inside the mine, you see what the coal miners would have seen, and also my favorite part of it is you get to meet a real coal miner who is experienced at doing that for years and years, and the stories they have to share are wonderful. Here's a little taste of what you can expect on the coal mining tour. Tour to see in Sydney is just going to check out the Fortress of Louisburg. Now this is a reconstruction of the original Louisburg Fortress. It's not as big as the original one, but a quarter the size, I believe. It's a really interesting place to visit, and they also have people dressed up in period costumes throughout the summer, and they're dressed up, they're completely in character. They'll tell you exactly what life was like for them back in the day over 200 years ago. It's a very interesting working fort, the way it's set up, and you learn a lot about the history of the place. Here's a little taste of what you could expect to see at the Fortress of Louisburg.
And on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Another wonderful tour to see in Sydney is to check out the Mi'kmaq Reserve and also the Highland Village. Now the Mi'kmaq Reserve takes you out to where some of the local Canadian tribe, the Mi'kmaqs, live, and this is their tribal ground where the people have lived for hundreds of years, and you'll meet some of the people who are descendants of the Mi'kmaq. They are real Mi'kmaq people. They tell you all about the history, about the culture, how they would have lived, a lot of traditions about music, dancing, hunting, food. It's very, very interesting, and the people are lovely, very, very friendly. It's an awesome part of the tour, and here's a little video you can check out what you'd expect to see there.
Just keep calling, keep coming. You have to be patient. You have to be patient with it, huh?
Yeah, just progresses from the everywhere we go, huh?
Also on this tour, you go to the Scottish Gaelic village. This is the Highland village, and you learn about how the Scottish settlers lived. People are dressed up again in the traditional costumes from different eras as local people. They'll tell you about their lives, about how things were then, what it was like for them to live and work in those times. And you get a lot of good, interesting information, some music, even a little taste of shortbread. And so check that out. Here's a taste of what you can find at the Highland Village.
Becken tjockare, 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 down, becken tjockare, do, det kan pausa, get down, becken tjockare, 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 becken tjockare, do, det kan pausa, gaba, ponierna, hagaba, ponierna, hagaba, ponierna, hellaba, hagaba, ponierna, hagaba, ponierna, hagaba, ponierna, van de hellaba, yo.
Okay, now we're here at the biggest fiddle in the world. This is what you see when you first get off the ship, when you're welcome to Sydney in Nova Scotia, and this is how we're saying goodbye to the port as well. It's been a lovely day once again, and so this is it from Sydney. We're saying see you later.